Thanks for joining us. In order to support us to produce Clancy's Kitchen, you can donate as little as €5 or $5 a month and gain access to exclusive content. Just go to www.patreon.com/Clancy's Kitchen. That's www.patreon.com/Clancy's Kitchen. Enjoy the podcast. Fáilte Croeso Noel, welcome back to Clancy's Kitchen, the podcast. We are delighted to have in the kitchen with us today, where do I start? A singer, an operatic singer, a ballad singer, a stage actor, a TV actor, a drama coach, a vocal coach. I think it's fair to say, Liam, you're what someone might call a multifaceted performer.
Maybe, yeah.
But more important than that, you're my first cousin.
First cousins, yes, cousin.
Liam Butler from Carrick-on-Shore.
And your dad was my uncle, who was also my mother's twin.
I know, isn't that something?
Yeah, isn't it?
Wasn't that really something? Yeah. That they were twins.
They were twins,
And let me tell you something. Your mother, Joan, God rest her, and Bobby, God rest him, the day when my father was coming towards the end, they were close.
Oh, yeah.
And your mother was up at the chapel, St. Nicholas's Church, which is, of course, a stone's throw from our house in William Street. And she was praying. And she called into William Street and she said to my mother, Myra, have you been down to see Bobby today? And my mother said, no, we're going shortly. And Joan said to her, Myra, I think he's gone. She said, he came to me. I was praying up in the church and I felt his presence really, really strong.
Wow.
And my mother phoned the hospital and said, oh, I'm coming down. They said, you know, we were actually just going to call you. And my mother said, he's gone, isn't he? And they said, he is, Myra. Oh. And your mother, my father's twin sister, Joan, he came to her first.
Right. Oh,
Isn't that something?
Story.
Isn't that something?
Story.
She never told you that?
No,
yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. I had a funny story about your dad one time. There was a session out in Tinvain, as there often was.
Yeah.
And I suppose I was kind of the black sheep of the family because, like, folk and that wasn't my thing. Right. I was more into the musical theatre and that sort of stuff. And I have an eclectic taste in music altogether. But there was a session in Tinvain and your dad asked me to sing a song. And I think I sang a Billy Joel song.
Yeah.
Right? And as soon as it finished, you'd want to learn a proper song, he said.
Oh, no!
So he was gas.
Go back. I was thinking we had Kevin on the show a little while ago and Collie as well, actually. And we were looking at the Clancy Children album. Do you know the one that Diane Hamilton came over? You were too young. You weren't on that.
I was the one in the middle of the ring of Rosie in the picture.
You were?
Yeah.
Are you really?
Okay. But have you any memory of it, or were you too young?
No
memory
whatsoever. But I wasn't singing. I was too small.
Okay.
But I was the little kid in the middle.
The little fella.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was me.
Take us back to your first interest or awareness of music, or that your uncles were singers.
Well, I always knew they were singers. And people have asked me this before, like, what was it like growing up, you know, being a nephew of the Clancy brothers? And I said, well, I was young. Like, they were just my uncles.
Yeah.
But I knew they sang in different parts of the world because my mother would I remember we were going to Liverpool and I think she went to the Royal Albert Hall in London.
Right.
And I would just know I was being minded by somebody and they were gone off to see my uncles sing in somewhere important.
Right.
So, and like they used to come to our house on Christmas night and there'd be a session.
Yeah.
And sing songs all around. The drink would flow. Laurie Kiley, God rest his soul, would have to clear the floor to have an Irish dance, a Siege of Venice or something. So all
I
the
never knew
furniture
that Laurie Kiley was a dancer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Absolutely. Oh, they were great nights.
Yeah.
But, as I said, I had no real awareness of how famous they were until much later.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they were just my uncles.
Yeah.
But it must be a subliminal thing, you know. It was always there in the house.
Yeah,
so
it was
when you probably
always
came
there.
to it later,
Yeah,
it's some recall and this store of, you know, like a a school of music that's already been.
Yeah, and it wasn't until I was thinking about 19 when Liam and Tommy got together. And my dad used to promote the concerts around the
Butler,
south,
of course.
around the south of Ireland. Of course, I was the poster boy. I'd be sent off 3 weeks before to put posters everywhere. And then I used to go and help set up the gear and help break it down again. I remember their roadie was a guy, Kevin Lyons, lovely man. And I just got really into it. I was just kind of,
Yeah.
my goodness, these two
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
so polished.
Yeah.
So, because I had kind of started in theatre
Yeah.
before that and been doing a bit. And they had this knack of making the audience feel so special.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one night, and of course it wasn't just one night, Liam was, as he used to do, retune during the opera, and I think he was starting to tune up to tell the story before he'd sing Waltz and Matilda, which was his big song.
Yes.
And Tommy Makem interrupted him and told a funny joke.
Yeah.
So that audience, I was there the night Tommy Makem interrupted Liam just as he was going to sing Waltz and Matilda, not realising it was rehearsed to within an inch of its life and it happened at exactly the same point every night.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that myself until, and this will coincide with the song, I asked Kevin Lyons to record one of the concerts for me because I loved The Orchard so much as a song and I wanted to learn it. And he forgot to give me the recording from that night. I think it was, we were in Waterford in the Theatre Royal. But he sent it on to me a couple of weeks later, but it was actually a recording of a concert in Dundalk.
Okay.
And when I listened to the recording, the interruption was exactly the same
the
moment.
same carbon copy.
And I
the
kind of
one we
went,
saw.
that is so clever. And
But it
making the
comes up-
audience feel special.
It
Yeah.
comes up time and again when we talk to people on this podcast. What comes up all the time is their stagecraft.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you see some people, they might be very good singers or players, but there's no rapport with audience. But when you see masters of stagecraft, you realise they have the whole theatre.
Yeah,
The
that
palm
was
of
the
their hand.
acting. I
Palm
mean,
of their
both of them
hand.
went off to be actors.
Yeah,
The
That's
singing
it.
was by the way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
we
they
had
had that stage.
Rory Makem actually was on the podcast there a little
Right.
while back, and he was talking about this, how Tommy wanted to be an act. That's how they kind of gelled so well
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
They both wanted to be actors. So now, Liam, your father, Christy Butler, was a man about town in Carrick, wasn't he?
Well, he was a businessman, was very well known, and he loved theatre. Yeah.
And he loved it so much that he owned the theatre.
Well, he built it eventually. I'll go back to the beginning. My real interest in music and theatre started, I'd say I was probably 6 or 7 years of age. And my dad used to disappear every night from home. And one night I plucked up the courage and I said, Daddy, where you going? And he said, I'm going to rehearsal. I said, can I come with you? He said, yeah, come on. And I went down, and if I remember rightly, it was a rehearsal for The Merry Widow, which was going to be staged in the Ormond Hall, which is now Super Value in Carrick.
Right.
And I remember just sitting there,
Spellbound.
mouth wide open. And I can still remember thinking that night, this is what I want to do.
I had no idea that your father, Christy, actually performed. He performed.
Well,
in
he
the
did in
shows.
pantos and shows. But
never knew that.
At this point, he was the technical guy.
Right.
Because the following year, I think the Musical Society did, it was either the White Horse Inn or the Student Prince. And there was a scene in it where it was supposed to be raining, right? And he was going, how are we going to do rain? How will we do rain? So they said, well, we're not going to put pipes up and have actual rain coming down. But so I said, right, leave it with me. And then he comes along to me one day, and we had a home projector where
Right.
we used to do silent family home movies for the
Yes.
summer. When
Yeah.
you'd be off for the summer. And they came, when you sent them off to be developed, they came back with what used to be called a header and a footer. So there was a black piece at the top of it and at the end of it. And he cut them off, right? He ran it through the spools of the projector. And then when he got it to the right size, he took it out again and he sellotaped it and pierced the holes so that it would just keep going around.
All right.
And
On
then
a
he
loop.
Clever.
And then he
Clever,
handed it to
clever.
me and he said to me, Liam, there's a pin. I want you to put the tiniest little scrapes, he said, in all those black frames.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And when he put it on and he brought the projector down to the back of the Ormond Hall and it looked like rain.
That's amazing.
That is
I
incredible.
love that.
I thought you were going to say rice in a box or something and make the sound
No, it
effect.
wasn't sound. It was actually
It was
looked
the
like
visual.
it was raining.
It was the
because you
visual.
had the projector projecting black with these little silver
Wow.
streaks
Isn't that amazing?
passing through.
How
Yeah,
intuitive
yeah.
and how, you
Yeah,
know,
clever.
imaginative and clever.
but he was always like
I
that.
could see you then as a little fella, the magic around that.
Oh, absolutely. And I was in charge of that projector.
Yeah.
I still remember when they did Annie Get Your Gun. In one scene of Annie Get Your Gun, Annie has been invited to, perform in the big show with Buffalo Bill. And she has little brothers and sisters. There was obviously a big family age gap.
Right.
So she's minding them now. And they go on a train to wherever she's going moving to. And it's the end of a scene and she sings a beautiful lullaby. And the end of the scene, she takes out the gun, blows out the bulb.
Right.
So my father said, now Liam, your job. The bulb.
Yeah.
Turn it off, right? Now he said, I know you know music really well. I don't want you to knock it off on the final beat. Now he said it should be the final beat, but if our shot doesn't go on the final beat, then the bulb shouldn't go out. So he said you've got to go on.
Technology
You
of
have to
it.
go on the shot. So I was be there, and I was 8, 9, something like that, and I'd have my finger on the switch for about 10 minutes, standing there ready to go.
Ready,
And
Daddy.
when I knocked it off, I still remember the feeling. I was like a hero.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful,
Yeah.
though? Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds you of that film, and it was one of Bobby's favourite films, of an older man and a young boy called Cinema Paradiso.
Cinema Paradiso.
You know,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's that magic of going
Yeah.
to a cinema in this case.
Yeah.
But I remember that I remember going to a panto years ago when I was a child for the first time. And they were calling people out from the audience. It was part of the show, they got to be part of it. And I really felt hard done by that I wasn't
I
chosen.
was the opposite.
And
I'd
that-
always be terrified.
No,
Don't
because
call
I thought,
me.
I wanted to do that because I was so amazed by this performance.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when it happens when you're young like that,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to recreate that magic that you feel
Isn't
when
it?
you're young, when
Yeah.
you see lights.
I
and
remember
see people
plays
performing.
in the brewery and just seeing the set and the brewery. We've said this a couple of times. So dedicated. It's not just look, throw up a set. That's
Oh,
fine.
no.
It's vaguely, we'll get it. They would be meticulous.
I remember
Every detail.
I worked on the set for when they did Brian Fried's translations.
Yes.
And even if I do say it, I was only part of a huge team.
Yeah.
And
John
it,
Denby.
it was the old barn where they were having the hedge school, and we did cobwebs. So we would stretch it and then spray it with
Hairspray was it?
the dry shampoo,
Oh right.
dry shampoo.
Yeah.
And one of the nights of the performances, there was a nun sitting in the front row of the brewery lane, and you're so close to the
course.
theatre, and she leaned up to knock off the cob.
Oh
Are you serious? You forgot to dust you.
no, that's such a nutty thing to do as well, isn't it?
But that magic, I remember seeing you in a musical the first year I came to Carrick in 1996, I believe. Do you remember we went?
Yes.
96 was Man of La Mancha.
That's it.
Was it? I can't remember that.
And at the same time, there might be something in the brewery.
Yeah.
And equally, you've got musicals, you've got dramas,
Yeah.
all this small town.
Oh, Carrick on
in
Shore
Carrick.
really
It is incredible,
punches above its
isn't it?
weight
When
in
you think
terms
of
of
it.
art.
Absolutely, the talent there is
It's phenomenal.
Well, you
Phenomenal.
mentioned the shows, the Operatic Society. So tell us
Yeah,
when
so,
you
then
how
I got
old were you,
involved.
Liam, when you got involved in your first show there?
So the first time I was ever on stage, Dick Meany had put together a variety show, and he was bringing it over. There was a festival on in Tallow,
Right.
and there was a chap, I think Fitzgerald was his name, and he was a big fan of Carrick-on-Shore Musical Society, and he was running the festival, and he said to Dick, "Sure, would you bring over a bit of a show?" You know, he said, "and I'll provide the truck on the street, this, that, other thing." And we had done a variety
How
show.
simple it was back then.
Yeah.
So we had put a variety show together, and actually my brother Jim was in it. Dick was very clever. He had done this final scene in the variety show with, I don't know how it would be taken now, but with Jesus on the cross and IRA men standing around. And this was in the 70s.
Good God.
This was a very
It
early
was very
70s.
risque back then.
Very risky. But the chaps who had done it in the previous one, some of them were missing. And he just said, "Oh, there's not enough of them." And he said to me, "Liam, do you have an army jacket?" And I said, "I have, yeah." "Right, bring it with you." And I ended up just being one of those guys. And that was the first time I ever appeared on the stage. Then the next story is a dinger.
Right.
I was down, they were having auditions for Old King Cole pantomime. And Dick used to write the pantos, and the kind of the good fairy character and the baddie would always have their dialogue in rhyme as opposed to the rest of the
Ah,
characters.
yes.
And he had a character written in called the Demon King, who was the baddie in the panto. And when they had auditions, there was nobody he felt had the resonance of the voice to make it sound like a real baddie. But the chairperson of the society at the time was Father Michael Ryan.
Oh, yes.
And he had a beautiful speaking voice.
Yeah.
And Dick said to him, "Father, by any chance you might play the demon?"
Did play the baddie?
And
Only in Carrick on Shore, with the priest played the demon.
yeah. So Father Ryan said, "Oh, Dick, I couldn't be up on the altar like at 12 o'clock and then 3 o'clock be down in the presentation school to say being the baddie." And Dick goes, "Oh, yeah, I suppose so. What if we disguised you?" "What do you mean?" Dick comes over. "If we put Liam up on your shoulders, now we'd have a 7.5 foot baddie. We'll make up Liam's face to be grotesque looking. Liam will learn all the lines and mime to you saying them."
What?
And that's what we did.
That's amazing. And did it work?
It did.
Oh, that's
Absolutely
brilliant.
worked.
So
Yeah.
your debut,
Once he wasn't seen,
your
he did
debut
well.
part was on the
On the
shoulders,
shoulders
of Father Ryan.
Of Father Ryan. Yeah.
As a
Made
de-
up
as a
grotesquely
demon.
as a demon.
He was a sort of pretend baddie. He said he could get that off his chest, but you had to
Yeah.
take the
Yeah.
face of
Yeah.
it.
And the following year, then they did a musical, The Golden Years, and there was a part for a printer's apprentice in it, and I did that.
Yeah.
Then the next panto, Dick he put in the song, I don't know whether you remember it or not, Vicky Leandros had won the Eurovision the previous year.
Right.
And then her next hit single out was called The Mouth Organ Boy.
Okay.
And he wanted to put this into the panto. And I remember being in the front garden at home one day, and Dick used to pass our house to go to his own house for his lunch every day and pass back again. And on the way down, he said to me, "Can you play the mouth organ?" And I went, "No, but I could probably learn." Yeah, I want you to do something in the panto.
Very
So I
good.
bought a mouth organ and I learned to play that song. So when the character was singing it in the background, there was this young boy playing the mouth organ.
Oh, how fabulous.
Lovely.
Do you remember the first song you sang?
Gosh, I don't. I
what's-
do.
what- go on.
I was in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I remember that. Martin Murray
And I was
and
Pot-
Audie
I was
Murphy,
Potiphar.
right?
Yeah,
Yes, I remember that.
I was Potiphar. Don't ask me to sing any I think. I
Give us a line. Go on.
I don't remember them. honestly,
Anything
God.
from Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, those got that there. That was another year. There's another story for you.
That would be
I've loads of stories. So Father Ryan again got the rights. He was running the youth club in Carrick at the time. This is in 1974. And they wanted to do some kind of big show. Dickie had been doing variety shows and that. So he contacted Lloyd Webber's company in London and said, you know, we're looking for something. And they said, oh, ideal. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah.
So we did that in 1974. Then, of course, Dick had got his teeth into directing and he wanted to go a little bit more. So he said, I'd love to do Jesus Christ Superstar. So he got Father Ryan to ring London. Now, wait till you hear
You're
this.
not going to say no to a priest who wants to do Jesus
did he
Christ
have to talk to?
Superstar.
Robert Stigwood,
All right.
the producer. He produced the movie of Jesus Christ Superstar, and he had the rights to it.
Right.
And Father Ryan just said to him, oh, well, we did Joseph 2 years ago, and sure, they're after grown up a little bit now, and they need something a little bit more adult.
Rock and roll.
Could we do it? He said, yeah, go ahead.
Incredible.
Gave us the rights.
And you got the priest to do that. You couldn't say no.
Yeah. So in 1976, I played Herod in
Oh, really?
Jesus Christ
For
Superstar.
You Are the Christ, You're the Great Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, Liam, you mentioned earlier The Orchard.
Yeah.
I
Great song.
know you do a lovely rendition of that, and it's on your album, right?
Yes.
Your album is called
If I Told You Stories.
If I Told You Stories.
Uh,
Why don't
very
you?
apt.
Can I make a suggestion? How about singing the song, and then I'd love to hear kind of your inspiration for the album.
Right, okay.
Should we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
Why
lovely
not?
to have a song.
When I was 9 in harvest time, I crossed the orchard wall. The moon was bright and the apples ripe. Upon the ground they'd fall. We filled our sacks and we made our way back, more adventure still to find. In an orchard beneath the cumrus, in a sweet Dungarvan tide, I crossed the orchard wall then, when I was just 13. It was, I think, to be my first drink of cider and poteen. I remember well that it tasted like hell, and I hoped the pain would end soon. In an orchard beneath the cumrus, in a sweet Dungarvan moon. When I was 21 years old, I married Annie there. The apple blossom from the trees looked better in her hair, and when the day was over, we danced the night through the trees in an orchard beneath the Cumras, by the sweet Dungarvan seas. Now I'm 81, 4 children grown, and my Annie's long since gone. My days were good, as well they should, but it's time that I passed on. And when I die, I want to lie beneath the whispering trees in an orchard beneath the Cumras, in a sweet Dungarvan breeze. And when I'm gone, may I be one with the air and the land and the foam, in an orchard beneath the Cumras, in my sweet Dungarvan home. Good day.
Róisín's crying.
I know, that is beautiful.
First
You know
cry
what I
of
was
the day.
thinking of? That song, I actually remember as a teenager in the 1980s. And I remember this was the song. It was a song, a recent, something new, and we hadn't heard it before. It was Kevin Evans, right?
Yeah.
And I believe Kevin Evans was originally from Dungarvan.
Right.
And then moved to Nova Scotia, and then obviously
Liam
came
told
back.
me he was in
Yeah.
Dungarvan.
And I remember sitting outside Mooney's, one of those lovely balmy summer evenings. And in those days, before the houses were built, you could see right across to the Cumra Mountains and the lights coming on. And I just remember being kind of spellbound by it. A song
It's a
that was
beautiful
from
song,
where we were sitting, the area we were living in. And actually, funnily enough, it came into my head the other day. I was walking past the cemetery where Tom and Liam are buried. And I thought, how lovely that they are lying beneath the Cumra Mountains.
Yeah.
Do you know, and the lines of the song.
It's a great song. Remember the first time I heard
Absolutely
Liam singing it, I said,
Yeah.
I'd love to learn that song. Because, as I say, I'd been like a musical theatre head.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, here was a song that grabbed my attention as a folk song,
Yeah.
really.
And this is on your album.
Yeah. And
If I told you stories. So tell us about the inspiration for your album.
I suppose I always just wanted to record something to have it, in the archives, that maybe my children could listen to me when I was gone or whatever. And I said it to a friend of mine, David Hayes. David is a well-renowned musical director, was the musical director of Riverdance on Broadway. And,
Oh, fabulous.
and he had a small little studio in his mum and dad's house. And I said to him, he said, yeah, we'll do that. He said, but can I say something to you, Liam? He said, you do a story song better than anybody I know.
Right.
So he said, you should do story songs.
Yes.
So kind of that's what I did. All the songs told some little bit of a story. I know every song is a story, but you get songs that can just be repetition. And so that's why I named it If I Told You Stories.
Well,
Because I have a song on it by Jason Robert Brown, who writes musicals, and it's If I Told You Now. So I just took that and said, If I Told You Stories.
Well, it's not off the stones you licked it, Liam, because there is something in you that can tell a story through song, obviously. And that's what's interesting to me, you see. You talk of a different genre like musicals, but what's in the heart of a musical but drama and a story? And at the centre, the best songs are the ballads usually, when you think of the great songs out of musicals. They're similar to folk songs. They're telling
I was
the
going to
story.
say, they're not a million miles apart.
No, that's
really.
what I'm saying.
Ballads,
But
aren't they?
I think there's something, for me personally, I remember you can work with people who are trained in musical theatre, and it's a different discipline and, the trained voices. But then what sets certain people apart is they give life to the words, and Liam was one of the best, your uncle. And I think of even my own father was sort of a classical singer, but he'd sing folk songs, but he believed what he was singing. And that's it. And people in this world, sometimes they try to teach people, students. I think we were talking about this once after the concert in Carrick, about phrasing.
Oh, yeah.
People, colleges try to teach how Frank Sinatra phrases in his songs. But at the heart of it is a natural sense of hearing and delivering the words,
Well, you see in a musical, the song you sing is carrying the narrative of the musical and the story. So you can't just go and sing it as brilliantly as possible. It just doesn't make sense.
You need to believe.
Like one of my favourite shows of all time is Mac and Mabel, about the silent movie maker Mac Sennett.
And that's not one of the better known ones.
It's not one of the better known
Yeah.
ones, but I love the lesser known musicals.
Yeah.
And beautiful song in it called I Won't Send Roses, where Mac Sennett, because he could never tell her that he loved her. So she just happened to be there. He put her into movies. They had an affair, a relationship, whatever. But he explains to her at one point, I won't send roses or hold the door. And it was opening in London. And I still remember the guy's name, Howard McGillan. He was an American, and they brought him over to play Mac Sennett. And it was on the Royal Variety performance, and I was waiting for it all night. And he sang I Won't Send Roses, and I went, oh, good God.
It was all the voice, but nothing behind it.
I won't send roses or hold the door. That's not the song.
No
pathos.
heart.
No, it's like
to it.
I won't send roses or hold the door. I won't remember which dress you wore. My heart is too much in control. The lack of romance in my soul will turn you grey, kid. So stay away, kid. Like it's...
Yes.
That's
tells
what a
the
musical
story.
is.
Yeah.
And this guy was belting it out in his best tenor voice, and I went, oh no.
It was all about the technicality of it as opposed to the actual story behind
Things can
it.
get lost quite easily, but it's just struck me now. I'd never really thought of it before. If you think of the root of musicals back in history, and we were even talking about this the other day when we had things like we went to see the show in the Waterford Food Festival, and that was
the burlesque.
Burlesque.
It was
and that's
fabulous.
an old tradition, which is coming from the people, really, like street theatre and ways of telling stories. And this is the root of a lot of musicals.
Yeah.
So the ballad singing and folk singing, which is telling people the story of the day, is quite closely
Like some Waltz and
related.
Matilda is a wonderful story.
Yes,
Do you know what I mean? The Dutchman is another one.
Yeah,
I was thinking that as you were saying the love story, because that is a love story.
Oh, fabulous love story.
Would you give us...
I would.
I know that's on your album as well, right?
No, the Dutchman isn't.
Oh, is it
no,
not?
No. But the Dutchman is... it's one of my favourite songs. It's just the story of it.
And it's sad,
I remember
isn't it,
seeing Liam introduce it on the Late Late Show, and he's talking about...
Do you remember what he said?
The Dutchman. And he said, like, I know it says he's mad as he can be, but he said, I don't think he's mad. I think he's shell-shocked from the war.
Yes.
And this woman sees something very special. She sees her unborn children in his eyes.
That's the line. Gets me
No,
every
my
time.
favourite line is she puts a little whiskey in
she
his...
puts a little whiskey in his drink.
In his-
But
in
for
his
me,
tea or
though,
coffee.
because someone has been through war and what we call today PTSD, shell shock is what they used to call it. But she sees her unborn children in his eyes. That is a class line.
It's the ultimate
one of the
love
best,
story, isn't it?
isn't it?
Beautiful.
And it's actually our daughter Movie there is our assistant today, and it's one of your favourite songs, right, Movie? Even at the tender age of 17, loves the Dutchman.
Yeah, and remember,
Absolutely loves
was it Donald tells the story of how Liam got the song. Did you hear that story?
Remind me.
It was a guy who used to nearly follow Liam around the United States, and he'd meet up with him after the gig. I have this song here, and Liam said they were okay. They weren't. And one time, his girlfriend came with him. This guy. Why the name Peter comes into my head?
Okay.
Peter something. So, and he gave a song to Liam, and he kind of shrugged his shoulders. Yeah, it's nice. And the girlfriend said, "Peter, give him the other one." And I said, "No, I don't like that one."
What?
And she said, "No, I think it's lovely." She said, "Give him."
He had written the song.
He had written the
You're
Dutchman,
kidding.
and he wasn't going to give it.
And was he Dutch? I wonder. Originally,
I don't know whether he was.
we'll have to look into
I'll have to
that.
look into that.
Yeah.
But he played it, and Donald says Liam was completely captivated straight away. And I'm sure it was because of the story, because that's what would appeal to Liam at the time. That's what appeals to me about music.
Yes.
It's that story.
Yeah.
And you can actually now, after having this conversation, you could see that in a musical or hear it in a musical.
Oh, completely.
Do you know what I mean?
It's very
incredible.
visual, actually. You can actually see it. Can't
Oh, yeah.
you?
Well, that's the idea. When, I direct theatre and I teach theatre. And whether it's a monologue, whether it's a song, when you do it, you need to get your audience to visualise the whole thing themselves. Like, it's not maybe the colours that you see, they'll see their own thing. Remember, we were talking earlier about a one-man play.
Oh, yeah.
And I was directing my first one-man play. And I was wondering, right, how am I going to do this? Because how do we keep it interesting? So some of it has to be narration. Some of it has to be internal thoughts.
Yeah.
And some of it needs to be action to keep the audience on the edge of their seat.
That's bang on.
And there was a scene in where this guy, he's doing it all himself, and he calls to the door of a house. And he's collecting money for his boss. Somebody owed the boss money. But when the door opened, there was an IRA man in the kitchen who had the wife and the child held down.
Hostage.
And there was another IRA man on the stairs.
Good God.
Right? So I gave my actor, I said, I have homework for you. And he said, what do you mean? I want you to come in the next day to rehearsal and have drawn me a plan of the house. What am I doing that for? He said. I said, because if you don't see that house yourself and you don't see that guy in the kitchen, whether you have to lean this way to see through the crack of a door, and how high on the stairs is the other guy. Every time you reference this guy on the stairs, if you don't look in the same spot, the audience are not going to believe you. And if you don't look at the guy back there, or the person who opens the door, and you can't visualise where the rooms are, because in the play he's describing, it's actually Conor McPherson's The Good Thief.
Yes.
And he's describing everything. So I said, you need to see it so the audience will see it. Now, the wallpaper could be a different colour. The door could be a different type of door. Doesn't matter. They will see their own thing, but they need to see it. And it's your job to make them see it as an actor.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing you just said there. You're coaxing something out of an actor rather than bad direction is telling an actor what to do. You know, it's like giving an actor line reading.
Yeah.
Say it like this is the wrong way. You've got to get it out of them, because that in turn gives it its own validity and authenticity.
Exactly, because then they become a clone of you saying the lines, and that's not what you want.
No, exactly.
Like, it has to be that two-way street of, I describe myself when I'm directing as an emotion choreographer.
Okay, yes.
So I'm bringing the audience through this field of emotions, bringing them up here, bringing them down there.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yes.
Because when I did I'm not going to go into it, but I started trying to play the character too early. And the director, Janet, she was great because...
This is a recent one-man show, really.
When I did. And she said, don't play him now, just get the emotion. And you get the emotion symphony, really, the highs and lows, and you know what it... Then you can add layers then.
Absolutely.
Sorry, anyway.
But they have to
the bottom line
it.
is, how do you leave the audience when they're leaving that theatre? they must have some sort of emotion, whether it's anger or whether it's they're laughing their head off, whether they're crying. So, like, you know from reading the piece where it ends. They say West Side Story, everybody should be bawling their eyes out on the way out. You know, and different things like that.
Totally.
So when an actor then comes to you, say, I was thinking of saying the line like this, or not in the second last scene. Don't do it like that. It might draw a laugh, and then I have to work twice as hard to get the audience back down to the crying state.
But also, no performance is ever like the next. Sure it isn't.
No,
the
it's not.
audience can be different, or the line that you're delivered could be different, and you're responding in a different
way.
But it's
Every time,
believing, isn't it? It's believing
It's
in
that
what
belief.
you're actually saying, that you are immersing yourself in that character.
And also what Liam is saying is getting that sort of map first.
map of
that emotional
emotion.
map. Yeah, the highs and lows. It's like elastic.
Yeah.
It's like you go with somewhere serious or dark, sometimes funny, and that's like a light relief. But
Yes.
it's like payoffs.
And you must have that, because if it's all down here, people go, oh, that was too maudlin.
Yeah.
And
And,
then-
I think
and then you-
sometimes film actors find that hard then to come back to stage, because everything is so much more low, because you've done loads
you
of
just have to.
TV
You just
and
have to
film.
go. It's a different discipline. You know.
Listen, we've gone off on a huge tangent
Sorry,
now.
yeah, we
what
have.
happened to the Dutchman?
We're going to sing the Dutchman, yeah.
But you know what? I'll just say this before you say it. You know what? I've just came into my head there. Our grandfather, Bob Clancy, loved opera,
That's right.
didn't he? And people would always ask, where's the Clancy? Or why folk singing? But actually, it's all one of the same thing,
is.
isn't
And
it?
here's one for you now.
My grandfather was the same. And again, this ballad, the aria is like a ballad, really.
Yeah.
It is the big song with emotion in it, in the opera. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
And my grandaunt on my dad's side
yeah.
was a wonderful opera singer.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
There
in
you go.
London.
So again, tisn't off the stones you licked it by.
suppose so.
On both sides.
Yeah.
Right, let's hear the
Let's hear the
Dutchman.
Dutchman for the
Yeah.
Yeah, usually this is played
The
on guitar,
ultimate love
but,
story.
which I-
The Dutchman is not the kind of man to keep his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. But that's a secret only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam is golden, in the morning Margaret brings him breakfast. She believes him. And he thinks the tulips bloom beneath the snow. He's mad as he can be, but Margaret only sees that sometimes. Sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuider Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes. His cap and coat are patched with love that Margaret sewed in. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He watches tugboats down canals and calls out to them when he thinks he knows the captain. Till Margaret comes to take him home again, through unforgiving streets that tripping though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone and he calls her name. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuider Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The windmill swirls the winter in, she winds his muffler tighter, they sit in the kitchen, and the tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment, calls her name, she makes his bed up, humming some old love song. She learned it when the tune was very new. He hums a line or two, they hum together in the night. The Dutchman falls asleep, and Margaret blows the candle out. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuider Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me.
Oh, yes. Oh, go home.
Beautiful. Yeah, what a song. What a song.
And imagine the songwriter said, that's not the one.
No, don't give him.
I don't want to give him
Isn't
that
that
much.
crazy?
I could have found out
And
more
you
about
do
that
such
now.
a
Yeah,
job.
Donald will
Beautiful
know
job
the full
on it.
story.
Yeah.
And you have it in your own way, which is lovely, isn't it, Róisín?
Yeah, he told her the night he in the Manila when he was performing with Rory.
Yeah. Oh, he told the story.
He told that
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
And that was a beautiful night. Both of them had such gorgeous stories as their dads.
Yeah.
And I was there with my brother and my two sisters. I think we all cried.
Yeah.
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 But you know, the stories you were telling earlier, you know, I'd never heard them about Dick Meany, who's a legend in Carrick, and
Yeah.
the things that went on in shows and stuff. That's a show in its own.
Isn't it?
Yes.
You recording,
Behind the
you could
scenes.
do it. You probably have.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
no,
yeah.
but it is.
Yeah,
That's
totally
it, you see.
is.
That's what you Clancys have. You know what I mean? You have this step, and it translates into a song usually.
Yeah.
That leads into a song.
Yeah.
You know, that's a beautiful thing.
It is stunning.
Yeah, actually, we're talking about The Good Thief and the one act played there earlier, and the chap, Michael Power, a great friend of mine, fantastic actor. And I remember him saying to me one time, he said, Liam, when you're passionate about something and you're telling me a story, he said, it's the most magical thing. He said, I can sit and listen to you for hours and hours. He said, because you can feel the passion within you. And I don't realise
You're so invested in it.
Yeah.
That it's just, again, it's natural. It just comes
Yeah,
naturally.
But I think you have it, and I'm talking objectively, you know, as someone came into came into the family, that always struck me. You know, obviously the music and the singing was there, but you have it, Fimba has it, Aoife has it, Kevin, you know, all these people, you want to turn in. My father was a great character like that, you know. And I always noticed when there was a night out, and at the end of the night, and there's a few jazz and people, there'd be people around his chair. It's like a magnetic thing. Because of the stories and the songs, you see. And
But
people love that.
That's what we all want, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, going about our lives, but there's something about coming together and hearing something,
what Ireland
connecting to
was
one
about?
another.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this podcast
Country
and the
of
show.
people of storytellers.
Yes.
and everything.
I always maintained
And
when
like,
we
and
started.
that's why, like, we have great novelists, we have great script writers, we have great actors
Yeah.
for a place of its size.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And maybe it's because we had nothing else
Yeah.
when, you know, back
Yeah.
70 years ago or
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
it was.
And also maybe because
I nearly
it's-
said 40 years ago, forgetting I was 66 with that.
I do that a
I'm
lot now.
that'll do.
You're right, though. And you see, I'd like to add Wales in that because it's quite similar.
We are very alike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I, when we started doing these podcasts, I said the kitchen table in Ireland and places like Wales was the original podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Before anybody recorded it.
Yeah.
You know? And
Coming
that's
together and telling stories. And there'd always be someone's auntie or uncle who'd, Auntie Mary sings that, or Uncle whoever sings that, and it'd be their little party piece.
Yeah.
And the story never dies, you see, because you told a few stories now that I hadn't heard. But I'll see you again in Carrick sometimes. Tell the one you want to hear the same story.
Yeah,
you know?
over and over, because it's
Did
told
you ever hear
differently every
Liam's
time.
story called Spain and Sixpence?
I don't think so. Go on, tell us. I'm in the mood for a story. Go on.
He wrote a story, and I was visiting him one day.
Liam wrote a story.
Yeah, a little short story. Yeah,
okay.
And it actually happened.
Yeah.
But he wrote it out and he printed it. I think I have a copy of it at home somewhere. But it was called Spain and Sixpence. They had been at a funeral in Dublin. Obviously ended up in O'Donoghue's, which was the place to go.
Yep.
And then back to, was it Peggy Jordan's house?
Jordan's, yeah.
Her house, right? So Liam said by the time his brain came around from drink the following day, he said, I was on an airplane, he said, and Paddy was on this side and Tom was on this side. And we were on the runway. And I said, where are we going, lads? We're going off to Madrid. The boy said, all right. Okay. Did I bring the guitar? Yeah, it is in. Yeah, all right, okay. So just random. And so the plane took off anyway. And he kind of said to himself, sure as we're here, we'll have a beer. Yeah, we'll have a cure. Call the air hostess for a bottle of beer. While you have Paddy, while you have Tom. Put his hand in his pocket. He had sixpence. It was all he had. He said, luckily, he said, Paddy had a checkbook.
Okay.
And they were new.
Oh,
He
yes.
said, but Paddy had a checkbook, so he paid for the drink.
Right.
I would love to hear, I know you do this one, The Water is Wide.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear
Let's give it a shot
hear you
then.
do this.
Oh, the water is wide, and I can't cross o'er, and neither have I wings to fly. Build me a boat that can carry two, and we both shall row, my love and I. There is a ship, and she sails the sea. She's loaded deep, as deep can be, but not so deep as the love I'm in, and I know not how I sink or swim, for love is handsome and love is kind, the sweetest flower when first it's new, but love grows old and waxes cold, and it fades away like morning dew. Oh, the water is wide, and I can't cross o'er, and neither have I wings to fly. Build me a boat that can carry two, and we both shall row, my love and I, and we shall rule. My love and I.
Oh, lovely.
Beautiful song.
Gorgeous,
Isn't it?
gorgeous.
What a gorgeous
Liam,
melody.
it's been absolutely lovely. You've really brought me back to places with some of those songs and the
Been a
stories.
pleasure, absolute pleasure.
yeah,
And the
yeah.
tea and the cake were lovely as well.
The highlights. You'll have to come back again.
Yeah, it's just,
I feel like there's so many more stories and songs we could go through.
Yeah, it
loads
kind
and
of
loads.
brought me back to nearly like a Christmas night
Yes.
in my
Yeah.
house.
That's
People
lovely.
just sitting around.
Yeah, because that's the
chatting
whole idea.
stories, singing. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't that what it's all about? What
Yeah.
life is all about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we
just
should do
gorgeous.
one big theatre concert where we all come together.
Around the kitchen table.
Clancy's
idea.
Kitchen. We'll call it the Big Table Concert.
Yes.
And get everyone.
That's a date.
Yeah.
Should we?
Yeah.
Will you come?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Count me
Good
in.
stuff.
Great.
All right.
I want this chair.
Yeah, you can have it. Join us again for Clancy's Kitchen. Go raibh míle maith agam, slán go fóill.
Slán.